Imagine a world where nothing is forgotten. A world where every conversation, every landscape and every face is stored with absolute precision, not in the mind, but in an internal device. An invisible implant, located behind the eyeball, that captures every moment we live, everything we see and hear. A device that, in its beginnings, seemed the pinnacle of technological progress, the ultimate solution to the fragility of human memory. The year is 2028, and the first commercial version of the inner eye has just hit the market. The developers claim that this implant will allow humanity to reach an unprecedented level of organization and precision. Forgetting keys, losing important documents. Not remembering names or significant details, all that, they say, is a thing of the past. The inner eye promises a perfect and infallible memory. The first months after its launch are a resounding success. The inner eye becomes a global phenomenon. Millions of people undergo the simple operation to have it implanted. The benefits are immediate and tangible. Through a simple visual interface, accessible through conscious thought, users can step back and see their memories with astonishing clarity. Students no longer need to take notes, they simply review their lectures in high definition. Family discussions are resolved with ease, the stored audio and video record is consulted. And productivity in offices reaches unprecedented levels. No detail is overlooked, no agreement is forgotten, the impact on society is immediate. Studies show that labor efficiency increases by 40% in key sectors, while crime rates drop dramatically. No one can lie about their location or actions, every testimony can be verified. The inner eye becomes the tool of absolute truth. The enthusiasm is such that, by mid-2029, the first generation of the device becomes obsolete. The second version promises improvements, more storage capacity, better resolution and, for the first time, the option to share memories with others. Humanity, say the headlines, has entered the era of total transparency. By the late 2030s, enthusiasm begins to spill over unexpected limits. Governments are beginning to take note. What began as a fad is now seen as a necessity for social order. The first countries to regulate its use are the most technologically advanced nations. In 2031, Japan becomes the first country to force certain workers, such as doctors, police and civil servants, to have the inner eye implanted. Soon after, the major Western powers followed suit. The benefits, they claim, are undeniable. Corruption decreases, justice becomes more efficient, and personal responsibility becomes a standard. But the first critical voices are beginning to emerge. Some scientists warn that the constant review of memories can generate psychological problems. The obsession for perfection and absolute truth seems to take a toll on mental health. By 2035, mandatory screening is extended to the general population in most developed countries. Surveillance becomes total, and privacy becomes an antiquated concept. Critics multiply, but their voices drown under the tide of security arguments. Crime rates are near zero, political corruption is virtually non-existent. The inner eye seems to have become the new guarantor of social peace. It is in 2038 that the first signs of serious problems begin to emerge. A group of researchers publishes a study revealing that 20% of regular users of the inner eye suffer from severe anxiety disorders. The inability to forget seems to have created a society incapable of moving forward. The constant revisiting of memories generates cycles of resentment, traumas that do not heal, personal relationships that crumble because nothing can be left behind. The suicide rate is up 15% in just 2 years. In addition, bizarre incidents are beginning to emerge. An increasing number of users report that their memories, when reviewed, do not exactly match what they believe they have experienced. Detailed studies confirm that the inner eye can suffer from minute errors of interpretation, which affect the way memories are perceived. The debate on the objectivity of memory is rekindled. Is it possible that the device, in its attempt at perfection, is generating a distorted reality? In parallel, governments begin to use records more aggressively. In the name of national security, laws are established that allow authorities to access the memories of any citizen without a warrant. Social protest is quickly quelled, using the protesters' own records as evidence. The real chaos begins in 2042, when a massive data breach unleashes the biggest crisis of the technological era. A group of hackers gain access to the database of memories stored by one of the major companies that control the inner eyes. Hundreds of millions of lives are exposed, personal secrets, intimate memories and embarrassing details come to public light. Trust in technology collapses. The consequences are devastating. Marriages are destroyed, companies go bankrupt as dishonest practices become known, and the political stability of several countries is threatened. The wave of suicides is rising alarmingly. The authorities promise to tighten security, but the damage is done. Citizens lose faith in privacy, and fear becomes the engine of daily life. Panic turns to anger. In 2044, the first war of memories breaks out in several cities around the world. Groups of activists attack government and corporate facilities in a desperate attempt to destroy servers and free humanity from total surveillance. The repression is brutal, and the consequences are tragic. For the first time in decades, governments use inner eyes records to identify dissidents and eliminate them before they can act. By 2046, inner eye technology becomes a symbol of oppression. Many countries ban its use, and an era of technological resistance begins. Scientists develop methods to hack the device and erase memories, but with unpredictable results. Some users lose the ability to distinguish between the real and the imagined, and madness becomes a silent epidemic. Science reveals that the human brain is not designed to process a perfect memory. Memories, experts conclude, are bound to fade over time, to become distorted, to become selective. That is how the mind allows us to move on, to evolve, to learn. The inner eye, in its quest for total memory, has upset that delicate balance. In 2050, the last bastions of the inner eye fall. Governments are forced to acknowledge the error, and the technology is gradually abandoned. Humanity is scarred by the trauma of an era in which oblivion was an impossible luxury. Scientific studies are published on the long-term impact. The rate of mental disorders rose by 60% during the years when the device was mandatory. Suicides tripled in certain regions, and social trust plummeted to unprecedented levels. The inner eye has disappeared, but its scars are visible in every corner of the planet. Humanity has learned, too late, that technological perfection cannot replace the imperfect but necessary fragility of the human mind. Now, a new generation is growing up without the burden of an implant that remembers everything, but with the awareness of what can happen when memory becomes a prison. The era of total transparency is over, and the future belongs, once again, to uncertainty. Mistakes will be made again, memories will fade again, and humanity, perhaps, will be able to dream again. Thank you for watching. Subscribe now and watch this.